You guys, what's up? It's Kyle here with a topic review. Well, not a topic review, but a topic. A lot of people always say, when they complain about WWE, this thing that I think is overly used so much, and it's the PG era. WWE PG era is killing the product. WWE needs to go back to TV-14. They need to go back to TV-14. It's the PG era is killing the product. And this is so overly used, especially amongst the internet wrestling community. And even though the PG WWE PG product, I think it's it's a bit of a hindrance in a certain aspect of the overall product, but it's not the one main problem of WWE, so to speak. WWE being PG, I do think it hinders the how should I say, some of the creative things that they could do. Kind of push the envelope just a little bit. It does hinder the superstars from being able to speak freely, in a promo or on the mic. Instead, it gives them a handwritten script to go out and to memorize. Like I said, WWE being PG, it's really just a small, tiny fraction compared to other things that need to be fixed within the company. One of the things people don't really bring out as much that needs to change, as much as they rant on about the PG era is killing and WWE needs to change the rating to TV-14, that's not going to change the overall product. The overall product, how you would see a change in the product itself, it starts in the back, the creative team, the people that are coming up with ideas, angles, storylines, and ideas to push and make superstars and how things go about. That's what needs to change. You start off with the head first. You start off with chasing the head, and you change the head, you'll be able to get to see that change overflow into the product once it starts changing in the back. And 98% of WWE's staff members or creative teams is full of script writers. And nothing against script writers, but they're people that literally have no knowledge of wrestling whatsoever. No knowledge whatsoever. And there are countless of interviews where they will speak up in their defense and say that they are wrestling fans, but the longest they've seen wrestling was back in the Hulk Hogan era, and since then they hadn't watched wrestling. So it's a lot of script writers. WWE has literally hired writers that used to write HBO drama programs. I believe a couple of years ago for SmackDown, they had hired a writer who written one of those long drama series, All My Children or Days of Our Lives, something like that, which was a long drama series on national television. They literally hired someone from that, and it's like, are you kidding me? One of the things that needs to change is that they need people with wrestling experience. And Arn Anderson, Michael Hayes, Triple H, those three guys aren't enough. They need some more people with some wrestling knowledge. And if they feel that guys like a Michael Hayes or an Arn Anderson are just probably too old school and out of touch, get somebody that's young and that's in touch with the wrestling world and that is a wrestling fan and knows about the wrestling business. Because you can't be successful in any field of work or just anything in life, pretty much, if you don't have any knowledge on it. I can't go and say and claim to go to NASA and claim to be a rocket scientist if I have not studied in that field to be a rocket scientist. So if I go into if I go to NASA and want to be a rocket scientist and make up some formulas and whiz up some math, some super math, I'm going to be a fish out of water because I'm out of my element. That's not what I know. As far as video games, I can give you more full detailed information about video games because that's my field, that's what I'm in, that's what I'm studying. So that philosophy applies to WWE. So that's the one thing that really needs to change. Another thing that needs to change for WWE that's not the PG product, another problem that WWE needs to fix that's not PG is Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon needs to open up his mind to other people's ideas because he's lost touch with the business. So that's something I think needs to switch because Vince McMahon is very stubborn. The WWE is his baby, but he needs to be able to kind of get some ideas from some younger people, one of them being like a Triple H or whatnot, somebody who has a finger pulse in the wrestling business. So that's another thing I think that needs to change. Another thing that needs to change about WWE is how they create their superstars. Now, to me, when I look at WWE, I'm 22, and I watched WWE for many, many years, from their 80 years, from their 80s to their 90s and whatnot. And, well, for a company that's been out for about almost over 60 years, you look at guys like the Hogans, the Ultimate Warriors, the Savages, down to the Austins and Rocks, and now to, your Brock Lesnar's and your Cena's and Randy Orton's. You would think it'd be kind of very easy for them to make superstars. But they find it so hard to make a new superstar. I think the way WWE, the way they make a star now creatively, I think has changed, and it's changed for the worse. They don't know how to make stars anymore, and to me that scares me when you're somebody that's been here for literally 6 decades, and you can make a star like overnight like that. And they still can make a star overnight, but the problem is that they have a very odd, weird philosophy of doing it. One of my good buddies over here through YouTube, Buff and Stuff, had shared information about a former WWE writer saying his philosophy on booking of how he was a Hollywood scriptwriter, as a matter of fact, to be exact, and how his philosophy was that you can lose. It doesn't matter if a wrestler loses 10 to 20 matches in a row. All that will be null and void if he wins Money in the Bank. Once he wins Money in the Bank. And it's like, that philosophy does not make sense whatsoever. How can you have somebody lose, go on a complete losing streak, and you think all that's going to be cleared away and null and void because he's won Money in the Bank now? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. You have to build that superstar to get up to the main event, to get up to that Money in the Bank point, and once he wins Money in the Bank, you still continue that momentum and building him up before he cashes in and becomes your next world champ. So with that type of philosophy like that and how they think they're making stars, obviously WWE does not have people that know about wrestling. That's terrible. So that's a problem that needs to be fixed. And again, it has nothing to do with WWE being PG. Another thing that WWE needs, I don't say I have a problem with, but it's something that needs to be fixed with WWE, and that is this obsession, this need to be in the Hollywood limelight. From want to get into movies and this, that, blah, 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 and that's fine. To have your superstars, stretch the board across multimedia, because at the end of the day, wrestling is a business. But I don't like the fact how WWE, they try to shun or they try to hide that they are a wrestling company or, have any type of input on wrestling, that they are a wrestling world. And they try to shun that and try to hide it, and they try to hide that, try to sweep that under the rug. To me, that's not really a good thing I really like about WWE. And to me, what is that saying to your fans? You're pretty much telling your fans who watch your product and who enjoy professional wrestling, don't tell anyone you're a wrestling fan, or don't tell anyone you watch our product, because we're ashamed of it. We want to be, in the Hollywood limelight, but we're embarrassed, of wrestling now because it's ridiculous. Another thing, people always say PG is what's killing it. Like I said earlier in this video, PG, it limits the product a tad bit, but not on the overall long run. WWE can be entertaining on a PG. It's the creative direction of the company as a whole that kills the product. Okay? I'll go back to WCW. When WCW was kicking Vince McMahon's butt for 2 years straight, okay, when they had the whole NWO thing started, with the NWO, Goldberg streak, stars like Sting, WCW was a PG product, and yet they were far more entertaining and yet and still make compelling storylines, superstars, and appeal to the masses, not just targeted towards children, but also towards the teenage and old and young adult fan base as well. So when I look at WCW and they really do, I'm like, how come WWE can't do that? Okay, that just doesn't really make sense to me. Reason why WWE went TV-14 was because they wanted to beat their competition. So I think sometimes wrestling fans get kind of spoiled because they're like, oh, since we got this great thing known as the Attitude Era, let's keep it like that. And it's like they only did that just for a business thing. So it's like, I don't know whether these fans always wanting the Attitude Era back, the TV-14 is not going to change much of anything. I mean, you look at TNA TV-14, and I will say, although the stuff is not really childish like WWE at times, their ratings aren't near WWE's. So I'm just saying, point blank. And this is going to be another topic for another video, why wrestling fans care about ratings. But I'm just saying, just use that as an example, so to speak. So, you know, and another thing I think that hurts WWE too is that they're not a public company anymore. They're private. They're not a private-owned company anymore. They're public. Reason why WWE were allowed to do a lot of the sexual innuendo and some of the other outrageous things they did back in the Attitude Era was because they were a private-owned, invested company. They were not public. WCW, on the other hand, they were a public company. Even Kevin Sullivan, who was a former head booker for WCW during the last years, said that the shareholders of Ted Turner said, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. You can't show any blood. You can't advertise any form of hatred towards anyone on television. You can't even say, I hate you. And Kevin Sullivan's like, are you kidding me? He's like, you turn to the other channel, and these guys, you know, beer and busting bottles over each other's heads and cussing each other out, and you want to go in the other direction? He's like, do you want this company to fail? Really? And I see that problem that Kevin Sullivan explains. I see that with WWE. Reason why WWE does not do the things they do is because they are a public company now. They have lots of shareholders, and well, those shareholders obviously don't want this family-based product. They want a family-based product and not the outlandish, extreme things that what we had back in the Attitude Era. So I think that's another thing that kind of hurts WWE too, is that they're a public-owned company now. They're not private. As far as when they were private, they were able to be more creative and, you know, do their own things and kind of think outside of the box. So these are just a few things I think that you know, kind of hinders WWE in certain aspects, and that's not necessarily the PG rating. That's the problem with WWE. Just these other few minor things. I want you guys' thoughts in the comment box below. Even a response video would be great. Subscribe. Peace.